Hello, this is Dr. Hassan Abdullah with the course Web Applications Programming. And this is the second topic of the course which we are covering, which is the World Wide Web and the Internet. And in this topic and in this video, as before, we will be using the Supplemental Learning Management System, easymcq.com/GoGet. And the details about that system have already been provided to you, and which is further provided in these 6 wonderful videos with all the features. And these videos are available on my YouTube channel. If you just type my username Dr. Hassan Abdullah, and you will see these videos. And these videos are also available on this URL. And the approach of this course is the question and answer based approach, which is very interactive, which is proactive, it is very engaging also, and it is very useful also. The details have already been given in the prior videos. So these are the list of topics that we will be covering in this course. And the topic which is of interest, which is topic number 2, is the World Wide Web and the Internet. Now, based upon the question and answer based approach, this topic is further broken down into 6 concepts. Okay, and those concepts are in the form of question and answers. And as you can see, those concepts are listed before you. And when we move on to the supplemental website, for each of these concepts, we will have bullets, we will have the explanation, we will have the references, and where necessary, we will have the diagrams, and all the relevant material is there, and all of this is searchable. So let's move on to the supplemental website, and we start from there. This is the supplemental website, and how to maximize the usage of their supplemental website is shown in these videos, right? So optimize the usage, and the first video is about the question and answer approach, which is adopted in this course. And of course, then how to cover the content and how to use the space optimized approach and so on. So all of this is covered here. And now we move on to the topic of our interest, and the course which we are doing is web applications programming. And we move on to the second topic, which is the World Wide Web and the Internet. So what is the World Wide Web, or WWW? So this is very comprehensive. So I have part 1 and I have part 2. So what is the definition of the World Wide Web, just for the sake of interest, and what are the components of the World Wide Web? So we will look at it, because your applications, the course is web applications programming. So you should have an understanding of what the web is, because in this is the last W is the web, World Wide Web. And what is the HTTP protocol? Not going in a lot of details, but you should have some understanding what are web browsers and what are web servers, because web browser is the client part, or the first tier of the 3-tier approach, which we'll be discussing throughout this course. And web servers are the servers on which you have your application running with reference to the business. So the World Wide Web is a system of interlinked hypertext documents. Now, what is a hypertext document? Well, the text is linked together, and it is commonly called a web, right? Because it is kind of a connectivity of all sorts, right? And this web, World Wide Web, which is the connectivity of this connectivity I will explain when we talk of the internet, right? And basically the web servers and your pages are on the web servers, and those web servers are connected to the internet, right? And the websites on the World Wide Web are built using the HTML. So that HTML is the kind of building block. So and of course then we have the cascading style sheets also, and the JavaScript also, to make them interactive and a lot of and attractive also, and dynamic experience. But remember that in our course, in this course, web applications programming, the web server will be generating the HTML. Of course, we can make the web server to generate the CSS also, and we can also make the web server generate the JavaScript also. It's up to your creativity how you do it, but that is possible. That's not impossible. So the definition is it is basically a vast collection of interconnected resources. So the The keyword over here is interconnected resources. Okay, and what are those connected resources? It could be web pages, it could be images, videos, and of course the list goes on. And you can navigate between them. That's the beauty of it. Okay, and that navigation is almost transparent to you. So what constitutes the World Wide Web and what are the main components? The main components are the web browsers. Web browser is the client, the application which is running on your smartphone or your tablet, on your PC, on your laptop. And the web servers is where the data has been placed, data in the form of textual data, because the web servers can have database servers connected to them also, right? So I'm not going to, we'll go to those details as we progress in the course. And we have the web pages also. The pages are hyperlinked pages which are placed on the web server. So this is basically referring to a web application or static pages. And then we have the web browsers, and the web servers store the data. Okay, now this is kind of a generic statement. Data is not stored in the web server. The data is stored in the database server. Okay, and which is accessed to the web server. And of course, when requested, you get what you want. So what is the HTTP protocol? So the HTTP protocol is very interesting, very important. That is the foundation for the data communication, right? And remember one thing, if you have not heard before, but web is stateless. Stateless means that when you make a request for a web page or even a web application, a connection is made and that's it. So, and that connection is made, and whatever needs to be transferred is transferred, and then that connection is no longer there, right? So that's what is meant by stateless. So this the web is stateless. So HTTP defines new messages, right, and which are formatted and transmitted. Now these and of course in the dynamic context, we as web application programmers, as a matter of fact, format those messages, format everything. Okay, and there are different various commands. There's a get command and post. You will be spending substantial amount of time on the get and the post also. They have their own benefits and shortcomings. And we have the web browser. So what is the web browser? That enables users to access and interact with the websites, and all the structure and the protocol, the TCP IP and everything that is hidden, that is underneath the web browser, because a user doesn't need to know about all those technicalities. So we have the web servers and the system web servers. What are web servers? They store and manage the contents of websites. So the big difference, as you must be getting an idea, there's a big difference between a website and a web application, which has been covered in the introduction, and we have a whole topic on it. So an internet connects the computers. Internet has been around for decades. Okay, when internet was made, it was not made to do e-commerce on it or to have social media accounts on it. This is the innovation of the human people, of the people who were smart enough and who made use of that platform. So that is internet. Internet has been around for a while. Okay, and it was called as sometime as the Aloha network, and Aloha, related to Hawaii. So that this course is not about the computer communications or anyway. So this has been around for a while. So internet is a connection of computers. As a matter of fact, very if you go into more details, internet is a network of networks, and these networks are running the TCP/IP protocol. And you may not be heard a lot about the TCP, transmission control protocol, but you may have heard about IP. Okay, the internet protocol, and with reference to IP is the IP address of devices. So this course is not about telecommunication, or but just for your interest. So web basically connects the people. So underneath the web is the internet, and between the internet and the web is the browser. So for an end user, there's just the browser. Behind the browser is the web server. Behind the web server is the database server, and then there is the internet, there is TCP/IP protocol, there is X.25 protocol, and the list goes on. Everything is hidden from the end user. They don't need to know about it. If you are more interested, here are the references. So what is the World Wide Web part 2? So it consists of hyperlinks and navigation. Okay, hyperlinks are the links which connect a page to a page, and you can move from one page to the another page. So we have web pages and we have websites. So a website consists of web pages. This is more in the context of static uh, websites. Website versus a web application. This course is about web applications. So this is very superficial intro. This is not the actual course. Just to give you an idea. And there we have the different types of contents. There are different formats of the contents, and then the difference between internet and world wide web, which is in the next Q&A, and the impact and its evolution. So hypertext markup language, this we've already covered, no need to cover it a lot. So hyperlinks, simply links are clickable elements. Okay, they are clickable elements inside a page that direct a user to another web page or another document. So this is how you navigate, right? And of course there's a lot to do. You can do a lot of things by this, basically this clicking, and you can do a lot of things with CSS on this clicking. So we have web page, we have websites, which are a collection of web pages, and then we have different types of content. We have HTML, CSS, we have images in JPEG, PNG format, audio, video. The JPEG basically is a lossy compression format which reduces the size of the image, right? And so it takes less time to store the image, and less requires less bandwidth. But remember that when this image is opened in your browser, it is kind of a kind of uncompressed or decompressed, what I the appropriate word would be. But basically then it occupies the amount of space which it should have, but when it's stored it takes less space. Anyway, so this course is not about computer graphics. Internet versus the world wide web. Internet is a global network of computers, okay, that are connected with each other, and which communicate with each other. And world wide web is a subset of the internet, okay. And so internet is the infrastructure, and the web is the interface for accessing the content, okay, which I just. So impact and evaluation. World wide web has dramatically transformed communication, commerce, education. Web was created in the early 1990s, but the internet has been around for a longer period. Okay, let's move on. So what are the major differences between the web and the internet? So let's look at those differences. So internet is a global network, okay, of interconnected computers and devices. And those devices can be your electric kettle also, or a camera somewhere, okay, monitoring the traffic, or monitoring your house for safekeeping purposes. And the web is a collection of documents and multimedia content. So the purpose of internet is the backbone of global connectivity, and of course this backbone can be fiber optic, it could be laid in the oceans, it could be satellite link, it could be radio link, it could be microwave link, okay. And but it's usually running TCP/IP protocol. And web is used for navigation and interact with the content. So runs TCP/IP protocol. It is routers and switches and cables and wireless communication. Web has browsers, servers, websites, HTML documents, and of course we are not limited to this. We have PHP pages and databases also. So internet scope is much broader. Okay, it encompasses a lot of things, and the web is a small part of the internet. Okay, and access to the web-based information protocol is a FTP, DNS, domain name system. We'll briefly talk about domain name system also. So these are some of this is the comparison, okay. So web is a collection of linked documents. It's a global network internet, purpose to provide to web-based content, to connect devices and facilitate data transfer. Now trillion-dollar businesses are running on the world wide web, which nobody could have imagined when the first web browser was launched. This is human innovation. It's very smart people doing uh, very smart things. So components of the web are browsers, and the components of internet are the servers and cables. Scope is different, protocols are different, data format is very different. Internet data is transmitted in various formats: emails, files, streaming, and so on. So they are different things, but a relationship dependent on the internet infrastructure. Its web cannot exist without internet, and the infrastructure that supports the internet. Okay, of course that we have discussed over here. So let's move on. So this is not very critical, but just to for the sake of knowledge, right? So data formats are different, accesses are different, functionality. Internet enables services such as email, instant messaging, file transfer protocols, virtual private networks, and web was created by 1989 by Tim Berners-Lee, from very simple static pages. Okay, and then over time we have e-commerce, social media, and the list goes on. So what are the key steps in now? You try to understand. This is very important. Everything is important. So because how we actually navigate uh, over the internet when we just click on a link. So you'll see that this is a very complex thing, and which is usually hidden from us. But being web applications programmer, we should know how it goes about, because we will be using parts of it, working on parts of it. Okay, so user clicks on a link, and that link basically does not have the address on it. It's just text, like example.com. But the machines don't understand example.com. They are running TCP/IP protocol. When it was meant, they had that IP address. At that time, nobody thought that you will be like buying items over the internet, or selling items, or making friends, or doing business, and so on. So when you click on a link that has text or DNS resolution, domain name system, that domain name is big business. That is resolved, so to say. What is meant by resolved? I'll show you. And then the browser sends an HTTP request, and that request is processed by the server. Then you get the response, and then it goes on. So let me show it to you. So this is the explanation. So what I'll do is I will show what happens, and you can read the explanation. Okay, so let me zoom on this. All right, so I've zoomed on it, and let me explain this to you. Okay, so all right, here we go. So you are the user, and you enter the URL, say example dot com. Okay, not putting a dot. All right, example.com, and then the operating system, because the browser is running there, so it tries to resolve the URL. Okay, maybe corresponding to that URL, the material is already available in the cache, or there's a file which corresponds to that URL. So if this is not the case, and if this is also not the case, okay, when it's not found, then it goes to the domain name system. So there are domain name servers which are hosting all that information. So I'm not going to go into it, but those servers are usually beyond the scope of a typical organization. So when the file and the data was not found there, okay, it goes over the internet to the domain name server. And the domain name server the domain name server has that domain name system, which is like called as a DNS. Okay, it has that system, and that system then tells or sends the corresponding information to the browser, and it gets the IP address. Okay, it's written here. That's the IP address. IP. I'm pardon my apologies for this is like kind of hidden, but it's there. So that IP address is resolved, and that you get that IP address, and based upon this, browser sends the get command to a web server. where the page which you are looking for is hosted, right? And from that web server, that page is retrieved and it sends that page to you and it is displayed on your browser, right? It's very simple, so to say. But what we will be doing in this course is that we have a database. Okay, we have a database, right? This is the database, this is the database server, right? And what you may be looking for may not be available at this web server, so the request to retrieve is sent to their database, and from their database, this is okay, this request is it goes into in the form of a SQL command. Okay, and then the results are shown and returned here, and then those results, corresponding to those results which are embedded in PHP, corresponding HTML page is generated. Okay, and that HTML page is displayed on your screen, right? So here we have SQL, here we have PHP, right? And here we have the HTML. Okay, we have the CSS, and we have the JavaScript here. Oh, so that's how it works. Okay, and so we'll basically going through all of this, and I will explain all these things to you, and not only explanation, you'll be coding it, all of this. Okay, it will be a wonderful learning experience. All right, so before we conclude, the last question and answer is the structure of a domain name. Okay, because we talked about the domain server. Remember here, domain server, resolution, domain name system. This is big business. This is huge business. Domain name system. This is huge business. Okay, these domain names can cost millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. This is a big business. It's a whole business ecosystem, which I'll just touch upon because that's not part of this course. Okay, so let's move on. So we move on to all right, so structure of the domain name. We move to, okay, structure of the domain name. So we have the top level domain, okay, TLD. For example, then we have the second level domain, right? I'll show you, and the subdomain and the extensions and so on. So let me kind of reset it because okay, so that the questions are correspondingly mapped. Yeah, this is question number 6. We read the right question and answer. Okay, so for example, what is this top level domain? Then with the second level domain. So top level domain like .com or .com. Basically, they are the more known. Dot is like commercial organization. Okay, .com is commercial website. .org is not profit, not for profit, and then is .net, which is corresponding to network. Then there's .ai, .tv, .biz. But this .com is the earliest known top level domain. And then there are country level domains also, like for example .pk, .in, .ru. There is no .us, because when you write .com, it is understood that it is .us. So .us is not written. Okay, let's move ahead. So we have the top level so the country codes are there for .uk and .jp. So then of course a, a domain with .gov extension is related to government entities, and .edu is an educational institutions. uh, in some places it is just like a 4 years program. You must have a 4 years degree program to get that .edu domain. And then are the second level domains. Okay, for example, the most famous is like google.com, right? The second level domain, or it could be say oracle.com, it could be microsoft.com, so amazon.com, and these are the big big companies, global companies. And then are the subdomains. So the subdomain is blog.example.com, right? So basically, the purpose of this approach is that to have a structured approach. Okay. And so blog.com, blog.example.com for different services for blog. So I can have hr.example.com also, and so on. So then there are the domain name extensions. For example, what else is over there? Okay, so let's look at it briefly and then we conclude. So this is the protocol H, hypertext transfer protocol. S is secure, and then is the subdomain is the World Wide Web. There can be FTP here also. Then we have the domain name, okay, which is example.com. Then we have the top level domain, which is the commercial organization. It could be gov, it could be edu, it could be jp, it could be uk. And this is the complete address, okay, of that, basically based upon this address you will get that domain name server is going to resolve this into an IP address. And within the and at this host there is a directory by the name of forum, and that directory again has a subdirectory by the name of questions, and that can have other nested subdirectories. And this is the path, complete path. And depending upon the part of the path you type, you may or may not get access, because these things are hidden. It's not very difficult to hide all those things. And based upon this you will access different files and different types of pages. So that's about it for this topic. Thank you.